Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 16th, 2025. And last we spoke, we were discussing how Bitcoin had made a bottom with this move, and I believed that it was very likely that we saw the end of this move to the downside for a few reasons. Okay, I pretty much want to continue that conversation, but also focus on what happens next, specifically for altcoins. So that's what I want to do in this episode. I really want to talk about this move up, what it looks like, not just for Bitcoin, but specifically in altcoins. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. All right, it's the end of the year. Very, very important. It's Q4, and in a moment, we're going to look at the year in review. I know it's tough and it's not the most pleasant exercise, especially when you've had a down year, a difficult year in the markets. But I think it's very useful to understand that as a preface to what our altcoin analysis is. But as usual, let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on the high time frames at this level that we were discussing here. Let me get my pen out. And I said, for a few reasons, I don't see it coming down any further, at least not yet. Okay, I still think this is one contiguous move. This is a big flat correction. The B wave went the full extent of any B wave retracement, possible retracement, right? The pretty much went as far as 1618 Fibonacci retracements of this A wave, but I still do think that we're due for that C wave, the final leg of any flat correction. And that is likely to take us to 116K. I said in last episode that I thought that this was true because expanded flats are more common statistically than running flats. All right, that's my main reason for believing that 116K is still likely on the table. And also, when you're dealing with a large market like Bitcoin and you've come and retraced so much, right? When so many people are reading this flat correction, so many people are reading the fact that, okay, you pull back, but then you have to finish it out, you're going to have a lot of shorts trapped here, okay? And that's a liquidity, that's a very favorable move in terms of liquidity capture. But I'm pretty much trying to say that that's a short squeeze in the making. Like, you know, that's a short squeeze waiting to happen. And so I do expect a major short squeeze from the Bitcoin market, taking it all the way from the depths of this B wave to completing this C wave up at 116K. I'm still seeing that, okay? On the smaller time frames, you can see that what I said was our orthodox low, a hair away from invalidation at 116K, held, and it still looks like a good orthodox low. If you don't know what an orthodox low is, it's pretty much the technical, it's where you measure the low. It's not the nominal low. So like, you know, from that point we made a lower low, but the measurement of the low of this B wave is taken here, not here. Okay, that's very important because given this measurement, it's still a valid B wave. I believe this even small retracement invalidates the B wave. Okay, last I checked, the B wave, the 1618 was at 94,400 something, and so right here you satisfied, the B wave not being able to retrace further than 1618 Fibonacci retracements of the A wave. Okay, technically speaking, all I'm saying is that we're looking good for a bounce here, and this still does look like an attractive and believable reversal pattern here, where you're pretty much making a double bottom, a rounded bottom, however you want to put it. Okay, so that's what I see with Bitcoin. Nothing's changed really. I just wanted to do a quick recap. What I really want to talk about is altcoins, and I want to start with the high time frame year in review. Okay, I've been saying what I'm saying, and a lot of people, when they're like, oh, you're switching, or you've said this and you've said that, and I haven't said anything different for a while now. And pretty much the thesis has been, at some point in time, Bitcoin is going to make a move to the upside, and altcoins are going to use that as fuel to overtake Bitcoin. And it's going to be the beginning of alt season, the beginning of the crypto bull market. Okay, that has yet to happen. Okay, and it seems that the move in question, which I didn't know at the beginning of the year, that altcoins are going to likely overtake Bitcoin and make a massive sort of ushering into alt season, the cryptocurrency market bull run, is going to be at the very end of the year, and it's going to be Bitcoin's last hurrah in a C wave that immediately precedes a larger move down in Bitcoin, right? That is something I've been tracking since the beginning of the year, and so you can see in altcoins specifically, ever since the beginning of the year, you've been sideways. You've done nothing. I know it's been extremely painful, but if you really look at it, and I think it's very helpful, and I think it's a useful exercise to take this perspective and just look at altcoins year in review. You've done nothing. And it's good and it's bad. It's bad because obviously, if you're invested in altcoins, you probably haven't made much of anything. If anything, maybe you've lost some, right? But you haven't made any money. But the good thing is, you've pretty much been sideways. And sideways is good because it denotes accumulation. It denotes consolidation. It precedes impulse, right? Accumulation precedes impulse. And if you're looking for a big move, what you want to see is a bunch of sideways before that big move. Okay, and so that's exactly where I think we've been in altcoins, not just for the whole calendar year, but specifically since the beginning of 24, right? I'm talking about the calendar year, so January 2025. You can look at altcoins as being in the same sideways pattern since specifically March of 2024. Okay, so that is encouraging, it's infuriating, but it's both. And it's encouraging insofar as what follows, after you get these corrective patterns. And how do you know this is a corrective pattern? One, because it's in a flavor of three. A, B, I think the C wave is a zigzag, right? So I think this is a flavor of three. You could call it a WXY probably more accurately, because the C wave is a zigzag, and that complicates things. So it's a complex flat. So this technically would be called a WXY. Y corrective flat. Okay, so that is clear. You know that it's a completed corrective pattern because you get this very, very telling big wick that happened on October 10th. And that typically indicates a capitulative move. And the capitulative move comes at the end of a corrective pattern. Okay, and that's what we're expecting Bitcoin to do. But altcoins have already done that. When I say altcoins, again, I'm only referring to altcoins that are likely to continue to the upside. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I right now am offering the single asset analysis service, one of the two services that I offer, for $120 per analysis, and that is going to change tomorrow, effective 11/17, not when the clock strikes 12, but during the day on Monday. That's going to change, and it's going to be reflecting a new price point at 165 per analysis. Okay, so if you want to take advantage of the single asset analysis service at the $120 per analysis price point, please do so soon. All right, anyway, this is the capitulative move. This is the end of the WXY. So after that, you get the big move. And it's interesting to look at this on a high time frame basis because you're thinking, oh man, I've been in this for all this time. I haven't done anything. But I want you to gain the perspective of when this does happen, the first move and the first logical resistance from this move is all the way here, all the way up here at 913 billion. Meaning, the first move in the bullish altcoins will wipe away 2 years of losses. Not 1 year, 2 years. Because whatever anybody did, actually, it'll wipe away a lifetime of losses because you'll never be as profitable in altcoins. Nobody will be in a loss in altcoins, generally speaking, once we hit that first target. Only the first target. And the first retracement is going to be the top or the resistance of whatever we've seen for the past 2 years. Okay? You can see that right here. So past 500 days, 500 plus days will be erased. 500 days of losses erased as soon as we put in one move. One move does that. That's how powerful this market is. So I know that when we look at our portfolios and we look at the price action and we're zoomed in, it seems very discouraging. And it's like, what are we doing with our lives? But don't forget the potential in this space. Don't forget the earning potential in crypto, in altcoins specifically, because just one move, and this is one move, and I've just completed my latest target update for clients, outlining specifically this one move in all of the altcoins that we're trading. This is all we need. And on average, you're looking at a return of about 285%, right? From the lows to that upside target. And I believe that you get that one move in the time Bitcoin makes its move to 116, because that's one contiguous move. And I've been saying for a few months now, I'm waiting for two moves, waiting for two moves in the time that Bitcoin matriculates up to its next logical resistance before flying down and making its capitulative retest between the 50 and 60k level. That's changed. We analyze the markets, we look at what's happening, and we refine our reads. Nothing's really changed. I hope you can understand that. I think anybody being honest can understand what I'm trying to say. If you don't watch the videos, you just read the titles and you like to troll, that's another thing. But for anybody reviewing my work honestly, you understand that the thesis of, okay, Bitcoin's going to make a move to the upside, and at some point altcoins overtake in dominance and really show out. And that's a change in trend. That is when it clearly shifts from Bitcoin season to altcoin season. That's happening as Bitcoin goes to 116K and altcoins hit this $913 billion level. But again, I really want to emphasize, it's not all altcoins. When I say altcoins, you have to be careful because not all altcoins are going to give you an average of 285% in this move that we're likely to get in the immediate short term. Okay, some altcoins are bearish on a high time frame and they're going to go the way of Bitcoin, and they need to make a big move down, a capitulative retest to, lower levels, much lower levels before starting their bull market. So please understand that. And this is a big part of what we do in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, which is why I'm constantly looking at high time frame charts for different assets and making sure that they're likely to participate in this. They're likely, cleared for their bull market. Some are going to join the bull market a little later. Others, they're probably not going to experience a bull market until the next bull market in a few years. Very, very, very important to be discerning on this front. And I'll say this, judging by this others chart, most altcoins are going to experience a large upside, a large move. I'm not going to say most altcoins are going to go into pure impulse and into their bull market. I'm just going to say most altcoins, I'm going to phrase this carefully, most altcoins are going to experience a large upside. Of those, some will then retrace a great deal of that upside on the retracement, while others will make higher lows because they're in pure impulse. This is going to be the most important point. Up until now, it hasn't been that important because we've just been going sideways. But this is really important to be able to understand what's what. Because on this retest, if you choose wrong, this retest may yield swing failure patterns, making lower lows. Okay? So that's a big deal, and this is why I'm taking the initiative to adjust the pricing of that single asset analysis service to 165. I think it's, 120 is a bit too low. It really is important to be able to gauge what's what and what altcoins are in their pure impulsive phases, or likely in their pure impulsive phases. You never are 100%, but are likely in their pure impulsive phases, or they're likely going to make higher lows, and that you can bank on taking profit and just riding, that profit into higher gains, sustained gains in the cryptocurrency bull market of 2025. So that is my read. This is important. Remember, one move erases 2 years of losses. One move, right? Whatever you've done all year in crypto, it can be erased with one move. It's up to you to figure out how to take profit on that move and how to get back in that move if it's going to gain or if it's going to yield further gains. This is where I think the value of, good analysis, like, what I do, I believe it's good analysis, what I do in the, single asset analysis service in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation. That's where the value is there. And up till now, right, the whole year, haven't really seen much of it, to be honest. I'm going to be honest. Haven't really seen much of it because the market hasn't done anything but go sideways. But who would have thought it would have taken an entire year, right, since the beginning of January for us to reach a point where it's more likely than not that we're finally going to get that big move up and out, right? the first big move of alt season, the disbelief rally, as it's dubbed in the psychology of the market, Wall Street cheat sheet. So that's pretty much it. Last but not least, let's just have a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And remember, Bitcoin dominance going down means, alt season is in play. Bitcoin dominance going up means it's Bitcoin season. That's the simplest analysis. And as you can see, we're still in this, let's go on the daily time frame. We're still in a very much in alt season, and we've been technically in alt season since June of 26, but we really haven't felt it. Here, you feel it. You go from the top of this 800 plus day channel, you retest the midline, you lose that, you retest the bottom of the 800 day channel, and you're breaking down from it. That's the first big move of alt season. Bitcoin dominance chart is showing us the same thing, okay? And I think that you ultimately get this move right here to the next logical support, right? Bitcoin dominance flies down to this level before you get any kind of bounce, large bounce in Bitcoin dominance. So this is what I'm seeing. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. This stuff isn't for everybody. Think about it. If you've been in altcoins for the past 2 years, you've pretty much generally been going sideways, not doing much. You've been stuck in that range, right? And without the perspective, the zoomed out perspective, like how does anybody consider this a valuable endeavor? You know what I mean? You have to have the perspective of, okay, that is a completed corrective pattern. Also, the next, likely move is to the upside. You have to have that perspective for any of this to make sense, or else this is such a lost cause. It's an exercise in futility. You see what I mean? So perspective. One big move is what we're holding out for, what we're hoping for, and what we're expecting. And after that big move, it's important to take profit, because the retracement is not necessarily going to create a lower low in the bullish altcoins, but you want to take those gains, because you haven't seen gains like we're about to see in about 500 days. Last thing I'll say is, if we're likely to get that move very soon in Bitcoin to its next logical resistance at around 116K, it's likely to happen during the course of this coming week. Why? Because the lunar sort of phases suggest we're likely to see a local market top on Thanksgiving. So on the 20th or the 21st. So Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. Okay, I think the actual next new moon, because remember, new moons are statistically local market tops, that's the 20th of November. That's on Wednesday. So right now it's Sunday. We start going and moving into next week. We're likely going to see a top on Wednesday or Thursday and into Black Friday. So this is what I'm seeing. Statistically, we're likely to see this move in Bitcoin and the adjoining move in altcoins during the course of next week. So that should be exciting. Guys, hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where you can trade, up to 5 altcoins with me. I help you using just all my skills and understanding in the market, and experience in building a balanced portfolio, but also a safe portfolio, how to mitigate risk, not just in trading, but also in maintaining wallets and all that stuff. So that's crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation. It's a more holistic product offering than single asset analysis. And also in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, you get up to 2 hours worth of meetings with me every month, and continuous access through email anytime. But single asset analysis service, I think it's more suited to people who are looking for just one thing, one asset, one commodity, one stock, and they want clarity, they want insights into how that's performing, if it's bullish, if it's bearish, what the next targets are, so on and so forth. That's single asset analysis, and that you can order for a limited time for just 120, and that has been the price for a while, but that price is going to move to 165 tomorrow on Monday. So if you want to take advantage of that, you should take advantage of that now. And all you need to do is make the payment. I have all the payment methods listed in the pinned comment below, and then email me whatever you want me to look at. And then within 24 hours, you'll get the pre-recorded analysis. After I send you that, you can follow up with a couple of questions if you'd like, that I'm happy to answer. So that single asset analysis, again, the $120 price is changing tomorrow. It's going to now be $165. So if you want to take advantage of a $120 price for single asset analysis, do so ASAP. All right, take care. I hope you're well, and chin up. All right.
My prevalent time slot, I vocalize too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later.
Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening? Gone like the wind.